It's so dramatic. Everyone's waiting with bated breath on the edge of their seats. What's going to happen in these Cairo talks? There's Qataris there, United States representatives, of course, Israel, and you have Hamas. Hamas is bringing erroneous demands, but now at the very same time, Israel is advancing to defeat this zombie apocalypse here, to destroy the Izzeldin al-Qassam, the Islamic Jihad, Hamas, and their infrastructure there in Rafah. We're already bombing from the sky in certain areas. Is that helping? Will that help for the negotiations? Will they try to stall the negotiations? We've got Khalil El-Hayya. He's the spokesperson for Hamas, and he's there and he says, I want to understand more Israel's part. But at the same time, I see that Egyptians say it looks like a truce could actually happen, a ceasefire could actually happen, and the final approval, of course, will be from Sinwar. And so you have this delegation, and we're waiting for the response. What I understand is being talked about, and I don't have all of the details, but about 33 out of the 133. So around 33, maybe a little more, hostages to be released in exchange for a temporary ceasefire, not an end to the war, and then, of course, releasing thousands of murderers from our jails. And these terrorists will be back there doing terror. And of course, all the remaining abductees and high-ranking prisoners, Palestinian prisoners, would be high-level prisoners would also be released. And Israel proposes a sustained period of calm, allowing for a transfer between the southern and northern Gaza and a partial military withdrawal, meaning we're still doing basic routine patrols and still, I believe, dismantling tunnels. But it's ongoing. These negotiations are ongoing. People are glued to their TV screen. They're not releasing much information, yet at the same, and they were building a port now. This big port it's a lot of work for masses of more tons of food to be able to come in, not just on trucks, but by sea. And so Khalil El-Hayya, the spokesperson of the Hamas delegation, he says he's very optimistic by the end of today, well, really very, very soon. He says just some final touches are needed. Sami Abu Zori, another senior Hamas official, says that they're really ready to make a deal. Final decisions will be made, of course, by Yahya Sinwar, the mastermind of October 7th massacre of our innocent people. Joe Biden is pressuring Netanyahu to get it going. UK is putting pressure, on John Kirby, spokesperson for the U.S. National Council, noted that Israel is willing. We're really, really willing we want those hostages released, but at what cost, right? That's the whole question. At what cost? U.S. diplomatic efforts, including Anthony Blinken, went to Saudi Arabia. He's trying and to Jordan to discuss a normalization agreement between Israel and Saudi Arabia. But he's also, they're also saying in exchange they would help establish a Palestinian state. What kind of state? Everyone's worrying, what in the world? They had a state. There was no Jewish people in Gaza at all since 2005. Even the bodies of Jewish people were removed. So they had a state. Jordan's a Palestinian state. So we see what's happening in Judea and Samaria. Are they trying to say Jerusalem would be the capital of said state? What exactly is going on? We want peace with Saudi Arabia, yes, but at what cost? This is the question, at what cost? European countries like Norway signaled a readiness to jump in and affirm and confirm a Palestinian state. Many believe that would be the worst timing right now and the worst decision. Look what we're in the middle of right now. Look what we're in the middle of. So again, it would be a release of about 33 of the 133 hostages. We have to release hundreds, maybe thousands of terrorists for a season of complete calm. That's what we say is calm, but it was calm before on October 6th, before a total of 253 or so hostages were seized. They attacked communities all over, massacring 1,200 people, and putting their own people in the situation that we're in right now. So I understand that 17 nations, including the United States, are really saying it could happen. They're pushing for this to happen right now. On the northern border, though, it still heats up. The Iranian-backed Houthis still are attacking. The Hezbollah still are shooting so many missiles. And so Yoav Gallant, he's the Minister of Defense, my boss, okay? And he says there has been so many of the enemy taken out of Hezbollah. Half or so of Hezbollah commanders have been taken out of southern Lebanon, but there's still many more, and of course hundreds of thousands of 150,000 rockets that are precision rockets. At the same time, you have the Christians are in such persecution there by the Muslims under Hezbollah, and they have all this tunnel network in the north. I'm talking about Hezbollah in the north, and there's hints that possibly North Korean tunneling consultants have really helped, because it's different than in the south. In the north, they have harder ground, more rocks. It's not like sandy, and so they also have these things, these missiles which go underground and they lift up, and so you have the Christians wondering what's going on. Will Israel really be able to end the Hezbollah reign? Will Israel be able to step in and do this where we didn't before? And so you have, of course, very high level of readiness right now for a full-on war with Lebanon. Huge readiness. These tunnels are extremely worrisome in the north, set up by North Korean and Iranian experts. And so what does this all mean? What will happen? I don't know. But I do know that this is the last day of Passover. This is really essentially the last day that we have this annual memorial of the miracles that brought us out of captivity. We were held in Egypt as slaves. We were held there against our will, at hostage for 400 years, 423 years or so. And this verse in Exodus, the Exodus happened. Exodus 15, verse 13. You in your mercy have led forth the people that you have redeemed and guided them by your strength into the abode of your holiness, into the Holy Land. This moment, we just want to get together and say, guys, we can believe as we do this Omer count, as we lead up to Pentecost, we can believe, we can still pray. I prayed by name. Choose a hostage to pray for by name. And I had met the mother of Emily, and I'll just say her first name, Emily. And so I met her mother there in Kfar Aza, and it was just so sad. And I remember she said, go into those tunnels, Chaim, and call for my daughter. Say Emily, her Hebrew name's Tehillah. And call for her. And I said, well, she's not just hanging out down there and she's not going to hear me. And they're chained up. But, and then my son, he says, I want to pray for Kfir Bibas, that young redhead. The other one said, and he might be dead. My daughter said she's praying for Ariel Bibas. And my wife's praying for, each one's for Keith. We just saw him just now crying on my last video. But let's count the Omer together, because this is a time of 50 days. 50 days, it's 7 sevens, 49, and the 50th day is called Pentecost, but Penta means 50 in Greek. And so I believe that this is one moment that God really wants to do something amazing, not just on the last day, but all 50 days. So I'm going to count them, and we've been doing this together. Let's do it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us and commanded us to count the Omer. That's right, it's in the Bible. Hayom yom hashishi lesfirat ha'omer. Today is the 6th day of counting the Omer. Hey, and tonight we're going to be counting 7. That's how it works. Share this video, please, because the world is making a choice where to stand, and let's stand together for what's right.